How's everybody doing today? Good. Great to see all of you. And it's a pleasure for me to introduce two very special guests, and both of them have very strong connections to Sault Ste. Marie. So our first guest played for 11 seasons in the NHL, played 543 games, played most of his career with the Dallas Stars, played one season with the Blackhawks and one season with the Bruins. Don Cherry once said he's the smartest goalie in the NHL for his incredible puck handling skills. He played at the University of Michigan, where he won 2 NCAA championships. He actually played with my older brother at the school, so I became a fan of his there. And he won a number of awards in the NHL. He has records for the Stars for most wins, shutouts, games played, minutes played, consecutive games played, most assists by a goalie, and he had most shutouts in a playoff series for the league. He's also had the best save percentage in the NHL for 2 seasons, and he continues to come back and spend his summers in Sault Ste. Marie. Please join me in welcoming NHL alumni Marty Turco. So great. Welcome, Marty. And we're going to ask him about his sharp-looking jacket momentarily, so you'll get the story for that afterwards. Okay, our next guest, I had the pleasure of dropping the puck with him Friday night at the Greyhounds game, and he had an incredible standing ovation from the local crowd. He played over 1,000 games in the NHL. He had 747 points, played with a number of different teams, had a very sustainable career. He also won the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy for perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey. He had a little break, came back to finish playing over 1,000 games. He played for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds here in 92-93 and 93-94. He won the Memorial Cup with the team, and in 93-94 season he played in 63 games and he had 113 points. Pretty impressive. He now is currently the Coyotes development coach, and as I can tell you from the reception he's had throughout the weekend, there's been a lineup to visit with him throughout the weekend. He's been a popular guy. Please join me in welcoming Steve Sullivan. Hey, first things first, Marty, tell us about your jacket.
Oh, this relic? It's brand new, Jen. Appreciate all the kind words. But this is my Legion jacket. I'm sure some people might recognize this thing. Yeah. And it's from, we just had our 10-year reunion, maybe it was 20, I forget.
Details.
For the Air Canada Cup in 1993, so it was a special team. It was the last time I got to represent Sault Ste. Marie in any amateur sport, so it was a good memory for me.
Well, and Steve, you've been here for a few days. You started on Thursday afternoon. You visited a team here. You dropped the puck. You've been visiting with people. How would you describe your experience here at Hometown Hockey?
Outstanding. It's been great to come back. It's been a while since I've been able to come back to the Sioux, and the welcoming is it was very humbling. It's just kind of been great to see all the people and the attendance here at the booth for the autographs and just at the hockey game. So I appreciate it all. It's been a great weekend.
Marty, your first impressions? You spent your summers here. You're back here today. Yeah. What's it like to be in this environment?
Well, it's always good to come back to Sault Ste. Marie. It's such a pretty city, more so in the summer, but I like playing street hockey still. I got a rink out in my lake house here. But it's always amazing when you come back to Sault Ste. Marie, the hockey intelligence, the fervor that the people have here for the game, not just at the rinks, but away from it, as you can see here with this great turnout. So
it's been a special city, not only to grow up in, but to come back to. And my family and I really appreciate all the support we always get. But it's fun to see guys like Steve that we played summer hockey with, played against each other, in the pros, and for him to come back and get a warm welcome from Sault Ste. Marie for the wonderful years he had here is just no surprise to us. It's good to come back. I'm glad it's not as cold as it has been for me. I think Steve and I are a little soft living in the southern states, but I like the snow maybe for a few days anyway.
Well, I think for us, we've had the chance to visit a few outdoor rinks when we've been here. For me, I grew up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, so the winters are pretty fresh there as well. But again, Timmins Tornado, we've heard this nickname a few times for Steve. What are some of your early memories from playing the sport of hockey?
Yeah, no, the outdoor rinks, just playing with your friends. the unstructured, just of being able to just enjoy it, go out and figure out how to play and have fun with it. And go to school, your hockey stick, play ball hockey at school. You come home, rush through your homework, or maybe not do it, and then put your skates on, go to the outdoor rink. So it's just the love of the game is just runs so deep inside you. That's all you want to do from the time you're a kid till now. I mean, it still burns very deep inside you. That's what we live to do.
And Marty, I mentioned I became a fan of yours when you played at Michigan with my brother. At what point in your life did you decide you knew that you wanted to be a goaltender?
Well, that's I think my parents tried to make the decision for me, and more on the negative side, but I was 9 years old, the first time that I remember wanting to play. Maybe even at 8, I was still a little left winger. Steve was probably bigger than me then, and I enjoyed scoring goals and skating around, but just I wanted to try it. And at 9 years old, I played half the year in that, and then half the year out. And as the lore goes, my dad told my mom that I'd get over it one day, and then at one point, it was 30-some years later, I was still playing the game, but they never persuaded me not to do it. So I think maybe inside the bedroom they had arguments over it, but from 10 years old, here, right in Sault Ste. Marie, we played AAA hockey, right through the year with the Sioux Legion. So I was a goaltender for many years, and it all got started here. When I played on the outdoor rinks here in Sault Ste. Marie, though, I just had a disdain for playing in net because I wanted to work on my skills, and I think the outdoor rinks in Sault Ste. Marie is really what led me to play the puck in the pro hockey and how to develop that skill set and not just play net all the time and see both sides of it. But full-time since 10 years old, so it's been a few decades.
It's a question for both of you. I think part of our hometown hockey celebration has been appreciating good people in the game. And I know Steve and I talked about this yesterday, but is there someone in particular that stands out for you? I mean, you both had incredible NHL careers. I mean, it's such an accomplishment to just make the NHL and then to have such long careers. Can you think of one person who really had an impact on you? Steve?
Obviously our parents, right, have a huge impact and are the backbone of us, all players making it to the National Hockey League, the support you get from them. But if you put them aside, for me, it was one of my coaches. It was my first pro coach, and Robbie Fatark. He had a love for the game, and he just kind of the details of the hockey game, and he was a teacher. It was the first time I really had someone teach me the game and teach me skills and really kind of set me apart from the other players on what I could do to be successful and make the next step. When you're in the American Hockey League, you got to find ways to try to get to the next level, and he was just the one guy that can teach you the game and just small little tricks to try to get protecting the puck. And he wasn't a very big player himself, so it was really good for us to have kind of that kind of style, that we were both smaller players and we could kind of read off each other, and he could kind of teach me that way.
Well, I never really had a solid goalie coach my whole career. I probably would have given him some credit, but it's not true. My list is long. My memories are short. I think it's more of an occupational hazard being a goaltender. But it's right here in Sault Ste. Marie, and I actually saw his son yesterday. It's the late great Mike Zook, and talk about outdoor rinks in Sault Ste. Marie. I don't think anybody from my era or older didn't play on Mike Zook's rink, and it was the best ice in town. It was the best garden in town, and it's come summertime. And you talk about passion for a game. I learned it from my dad. He loved hockey, but I never seen a man in my life, even to this day, love hockey as much as Mike Zook did. And we'd go to his rink, the fire was rocking, the ice was perfect, and that's all he cared about. We'd show up there at midnight sometimes and play when we got a little bit older. We even had banner practices there, so he was always thinking, always talking with the guys about new plays and some tricks that they could do on the ice, just to get better, work on their skills, but think outside the box. And even as a goaltender, to see his passion, certainly, and he's one of the only coaches in my whole career, amateur or pro, that cared what goaltenders were doing in practice. And I'm sure Stevie, it's a shooting gallery most of the time, and Jen, you've played a ton of hockey as much as we have, and goalies not always for practice, but this guy cared about everybody, and he cared about the game of hockey, and he represented Sault Ste. Marie on that level of intellect more than anybody I've ever been around. So the list can go on and on, but talk about passion of hockey in Sault Ste. Marie, that that was it for me.
There have been so many great stories for this community. And Steve, you had the chance to play 2 tremendous seasons here. And how would you describe those 2 seasons? You won the Memorial Cup, you had an incredible performance in terms of points. How would you describe playing in this community?
It's hard to describe in words. It really is. It was, you know, being from Timmins, I think that the communities are very similar. Sousa maybe a little bit bigger, but just the quality of life and how nice the people are and how warm and welcoming they are, and they take you in. So I think it's for my 2 years here were huge for me. Just kind of the step, you know, you leave your house, you leave home. It could be difficult, and for me, coming here, it made the transition so much easier, knowing that it was very familiar to home, and you know, it enabled me to kind of continue my path on from here.
And Marty, you're from here originally, but you went down, you played at Michigan University. I still remember the atmosphere that the band would play, win or lose, the energy that they brought. How would you describe your experience at Michigan?
Well, I think I was fortunate to go to Michigan for one, and I always wanted to play for the Greyhounds just to back up. We billeted the guys, thank goodness not Steve, but guys a little bit older than him in our house, and you know, I watched more Greyhound games than probably any other team in my life. I mean, I might count the Dallas Stars, but when I backed them up a few times. But anyway, it's a side note. But I think the passion I got to see for hockey from Sault Ste. Marie, you would expect a little bit of a dip going in the United States and going to a big school, but University of Michigan, as you know, didn't disappoint. That song, Stepping on the Ice, the band playing, it was a really eye-opening experience for me, and then going to a football game for the first time, realizing that not only the whole Sault Ste. Marie and surrounding area could fit in that stadium was pretty overwhelming for me, but it was a great introduction into the Americana of life down there, and how passionate Americans are too of their sports in general. But hockey at Michigan was great. Played with great players like your brother Jason. You know, we went to 4 Final Fours. I mean, we were good, and I was an okay goalie, but they made me look pretty darn good playing for them. It was an awesome experience, and you know, talk about influential people's, you know, the stories of Red Berenson. You know, he's a Canadian boy that's really made his way and turned out a lot of great hockey players down in Ann Arbor. The man's still going down there. He's still coaching at 75 years old. So I've been fortunate to be around a lot of great people, and the passion that all started here carried right through the rest of my life.
Well, thank you guys. It's fun to hear the stories. Again, I talked about your long NHL careers. Is it possible to pick just a couple of moments that stand out, or a couple of highlights, if you had to choose a couple of moments? Steve?
You know what? You as a hockey player, you always want to try to find team success, and unfortunately for me, it's hard. Right? I was on a lot of tough teams, but like the Toronto Maple Leafs, the year we made the run to the semifinals and lost to Buffalo, was my first real chance at the playoffs in the National Hockey League, and the city of Toronto is a good place to play when you're winning. Maybe not so much when you're not winning, but it's a great place to play when you're winning. And for me, to be able to go through that run, and also to close Maple Leaf Gardens and move into the Air Canada Centre, just the way you talk about the pride of the fans and how we had a huge parade and going through, and for me, the biggest accomplishment would be my 1000th game. I think that with my back injury and having to sit out a couple years, that was a goal that I set for myself internally, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to kind of reach that goal. So to be able to do so was a proud moment for myself and my family.
Congratulations, Steve. Marty, a few highlights for you?
I got a few highlights. Got some down moments that I think are pretty funny.
I wasn't asking you about those.
They're pretty funny though, Jen. You know, Steve's a pretty humble guy. For him to get those 1000 games, I got to see him in Nashville there a lot when he wasn't playing, and the hard work that he endured, and just the mental anguish that he had to go through. I think he's kind of understating it. So it's pretty special for you, buddy, and certainly proud of you and what you did. And you know, looking at the Greyhounds, talk about the lore of this city. You got Dr. Chinook right here. You know, the man who's so influential with the Greyhounds and what he's done for hockey. It's good to see you, sir. Appreciate you being here. And I just saw the classmate of mine, Christian Provenzano, the mayor of Sault Ste. Marie, pop in here. So it's nice just to get back to see some old familiar faces at that. But to your question, I think that my first game playing in the NHL was so memorable for a lot of good reasons and bad. The first period, I took 2 penalties in my first game, and both of them were for shooting the puck over the glass, which is probably no surprise. But the funny part is the same guy caught the puck both times. And Hitchcock sent somebody out to talk to me, and we just started laughing because there was nothing else to do. And some of my buddies from the Sioux were like, "Are you laughing?" I'm like, "It was pretty funny." Yeah, I was laughing. But the best part of that game, even though we lost 9-2, was that I got to play a game in the NHL. And the coolest thing was that Ron Francis was playing in the game. Sault Ste. Marie legend, Hall of Famer. Even at that point in his career, he was a lock. And just to think that I was on the ice playing against a guy that I never got a chance to play in Sault Ste. Marie was gone by the time I really grew up, and I was playing against him. To me, that was one of the coolest things that I ever got to do. And I think that looking back now in my career, the most fortunate part of it was I got to play. I was 10 years in Dallas, and I never got traded. Wish I would have now, looking back at some points, but I got to play in one city in a great organization, played with a lot of great players, and always had the chance to come home to the Sioux in the summer times and then appreciate it. So I think that in general, for a lot of other great things, and again, playing in the playoffs and the Stanley Cup playoffs, there's just nothing like. It's amazing to go from game 82 to game 1 in the playoffs to intensity, and guys are playing for free essentially. You're like, what's the difference here? But that's how passionate hockey guys are, and all the way from growing up here to the last game I played in the NHL, the best part of hockey is my teammates. And as you guys can attest to, there's nothing better to say you're associated with them, because hockey players and people are class acts. And I think overall, looking back, just being a hockey player for so long, coming from here, felt pretty darn good.
I think we can sense a lot of gratitude and appreciation from both these guys. I certainly know from our national team, we always called them little moments of appreciation right before you put on that jersey to play. And I think that's something that, again, you also credit that to your teammates. Last couple of questions, because I know everyone's excited to visit with you guys today. But we also talk about the importance of teammates. Do you still stay in touch with a lot of guys that you either grew up playing with or you played pro with?
Yeah, both. Yes, I still have. We're fortunate. We had a pretty good birth year up in Timmins, and we ended up playing together forever. And 4 or 5 of them slid in my wedding. We still chit chat, practically daily. So from home, they're all hockey buddies that we kind of got on, and yeah, for sure, definitely pro guys still hanging out. I mean, I got to see Mark Mateer here that I played junior with, and Aaron Davey, and ran into Gary Roach, other players that I played with that '93 team. So it's great to see those guys still here in the community and be able to kind of stay in touch with them. That's what you miss when you retire. I hate to say it, it's not the 60 minutes that you miss. It's not so much the game. It's the dinners. It's the airplane rides. It's the joking before and after practice. It's everything that has to do with with the boys. And that's what definitely I can honestly say I miss the most about the game is definitely your teammates.
I certainly keep in touch, and being able to summer here is fortunate as I get to see a lot of familiar faces, high school buddies and teammates, and some of them I played with since I was 8 years old. And Paul Spina I play with pretty much every year, and he went to college at the same time. Got to play against him when he was at Northern Michigan. So I mean, that's just was. And I played soccer with a lot of these guys too, and a lot of them are still living here, thriving in the community as business guys and leaders. So it's it's pretty good. And, even a guy like Brendan Urema never played in the NHL, but he played just as long as I did in professional ranks. And so I get to come back and see these guys and still talk to them, still talk to all my teammates in Kalamazoo, Michigan, from Michigan University, and even pro, and guys that I play with, and they're still playing the NHL. I still feel like I want to help them when things aren't going well. I called Smitty a couple of weeks ago. He's not having a great year, but I'm like, man, you care. And but some of the teams we had here in Sault Ste. Marie, and Steve, being from a small town in Timmins, when you go and play in Toronto, or you go play in Detroit or Chicago against these big bad teams, and you just got your little community. This is where we learn to win. This is where you learn to be a team, and you can put the best 4 players in the world on one team. You're not winning in hockey, and I think that's the greatest thing about our sport. And so to have those teammates, especially here in the Sioux, and to have those memories of winning tournaments and going to Air Canada Cup are some of my best memories of my life, and not just hockey.
All right, so good to hear. Last question. NHL predictions for the rest of the season. Oh, Steve didn't like that one. Oh, he wants Marty to start?
Yeah.
Okay, Marty started.
Well, I don't think Toronto's going to get the first overall pick, so just sort of, they're going to be close, though. They're going to be close, but it'd be great if they did. So we'll just start off with that one. With the other team, if you don't like one, you probably like the other. It's Montreal. Watching them last night, the way Carey Price is playing, and back to the team concept, the way they're playing as a team, you can tell their leadership from top to bottom is great. And they don't have one significant leader on that team. That's just a band of brothers. And that's the thing, from my mind, when you're done, you play. You just you don't cheer for you cheer for a team. You cheer for guys you know. But to me, it's hard to see Montreal getting beat with that guy between the pipes. The western side's just a different animal. I'd love to see St. Louis with that kind of talent around to go somewhere and do it. And unheralded, Brian Elliott in the pipes doesn't get much credit, but I think the world of that kid. But it'll be interesting. But I think with the East and the less travel, because I played my whole career in the West, that Montreal might come away with the cup this year.
Wow. He's right though. The two different conferences I feel is a big difference, and it's a little bit more wheel and deal in the East. It's a little bit bigger, harder hockey in the West. In the East it's hard. Can you ever really count Pittsburgh out? I like what the Islanders have been doing so far this season, and they're coming up the ranks. So I love watching Tavares play. It's fun to watch him play. It's a little bit more open in the West. You can't really count LA out. As long as they can kind of sneak in there, they're built for the playoffs. Like he said, I'm a huge fan of St. Louis. I don't understand how they don't have more playoff success. I think their time is right. I think that they're good to go. And Chicago with losing Kane, that might be a little bit more difficult for them. They picked up Antoine Vermette. That might help a little bit. But I think I'm going to not say who's going to win the Stanley Cup, but I think the West will win it. It's going to be somebody from the West.
How about a prediction for the Greyhounds this year? How well are they playing?
How about that? How about a Memorial Cup for our Sioux Greyhounds?
Got a nationally televised game today, which is huge for the Hounds, and the way they're playing, I'm thinking they're going to go all the way to the Memorial Cup too. Yeah, that's what we care about more than anything.
Heard it here first. So good. All right, thank you so much.